passed away, wink, wink, 2 years ago. They're still talking about Prince a lot, and now today they've released photos from inside of his house, inside of the crime scene, or whatever you want to call it, inside of the the sacrifice ritual. Or then again, there's people that still think he's alive, and that wouldn't surprise me either. But I wanted to point out some of the things inside of his very Masonic, occultic home. I know there's a lot of people out there who have fallen under the mind control, thinking that Prince was trying to break free, and because Prince had gone on TV and talked about chemtrails. Well, we'll never know what he really felt in his heart, if he was saved, if he wasn't. But what we do know is that to become as rich and as famous as he did and as popular as he did, and the fact that they continue to just talk about him day and night as if now he's the greatest musician that ever lived. 3 years ago, nobody would have said that. But they continued to push this legacy. It's part of this mind control. We saw at the Super Bowl where Justin Timberlake had a hologram of Prince singing. And if you look, it's just very bizarre, the fact that YouTube just keeps putting Prince in the trending section. They put him in there today from a song from 1984, Nothing Compares to You. I think Sinead O'Connor might have covered that, right? And they just put that in the trending section at #1. And then if you go to Prince's YouTube page, there's all these videos that have been uploaded since his death. Now, I know people always say, well, that's because they go through the old tape, and same thing with Tupac and all this stuff. It's very weird stuff. I mean, he's got a video from 2 months ago where, it looks like it was pretty close to his death that it had to have been filmed, because he looks pretty old. And he's got slave written on the side of his face. Because remember, all of these people are slaves. They're slaves to the system. They're slaves to Lucifer. Okay, this is what they sign up for. But let's take a look inside his house, because they've released all this stuff. It took them 2 years to finally release this stuff and release video footage of him on CCTV camera going into the doctor to get the prescription. And now they're saying that the doctor prescribed him the wrong medicine or something along those lines, fake pills that killed Prince and thousands of more Americans. I mean, these are the articles that are coming out today. But what stood out most to me, of course, the symbols inside of his house, the signs and the symbols. Now, you can start with the blatantly obvious. You can see this room here with the black and white checkered Masonic floor tiles, because remember, it's always going to be there. Always going to be there. It's not because it's in style here. I mean, this house doesn't look like it's been redecorated since the 80s. It's because these people are Freemasons. And they always show their allegiance to Freemasonry and to the brotherhood that they're a part of. It's not only in this room. You can actually see in his kitchen, his actual kitchen, he has black and white Masonic tiles all over the kitchen, on the walls, on the countertops. A little suspicious. I mean, really? Then, even more bizarre, you can see in his living room, or one of these rooms here, you can see a giant eye. Right? And I guess inside that eye, they would have something playing over and over, almost like hypnosis, putting people in a trance. But this giant eye just in the middle of his house, right? And you can see at the top there, obviously, he has his logo, his symbol all over the house, but the light is shining on it, right? You can see that spiral there, and we know what the spiral represents is witchcraft, as well as in the pedo circles. Not saying that that's what this guy is or was, but I'm just saying there's a symbol right there for you to take a look at and raise your eyebrows and go, oh, it's a little bit suspicious. Now, some of the other things that they showed, because remember, they're deliberately releasing these photos. There's a photo of a woman, I guess somebody drew, doing the shh sign. Remember? I've covered that many times, and they put the finger over the lip. That is a Masonic code. They take a vow of silence when they join these secret societies. You never reveal anything. And that's why it's funny when people try to go, Freemasons comment on my videos all the time. They're like, you don't have a clue about us. You don't understand. You don't think these people are going to lie to the grave? They swear an oath of secrecy that they be killed. I mean, it doesn't mean they'll literally be killed, but I mean, there have definitely been people who have been killed who have given away the secrets. Now we live in a different time where all, technology, a lot of this information is available, which is one of the only good things about technology, if you ask me. But nonetheless, the vow of silence, and you can see the third eye up on the forehead. So the third eye, I thought that was just a little bit suspicious. Another thing, too, that's really weird about this is there's just wads of money laying around this guy's house. Like, I don't don't know if any of you are familiar with Heaven's Gate. I've talked to some of my friends about Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate, you know, and I need to do a video on it. It's just old. It's a cult. They all killed themselves. They drank, you know, vodka and poison or something along those lines. I forget the exact cocktail they drank. They believed that they were getting beamed up to another planet or something like that. And that, you know, it was all MK Ultra, right? I mean, that's what most of these things are. That's what Jonestown. These are operations that they run, and of course they make everybody look like, you know, crazy Christians or crazy Christian cult type of thing. But the house. That you know, there's pictures of all the people who killed themselves, and they're wearing like Nike sneakers or something like that. I mean, it's eerily similar. The house here, like, I mean, the bedroom, it's just very bizarre. And he's got just wads of like $10,000 sitting around his house, and I mean, you wouldn't think that somebody, you know, like him lived here who has money and can pay someone to clean and all that stuff. Nonetheless, some of the other things that you'll see in the house is the rug. Now, the rug has the crescent moon on it, as well as an 8-pointed star. And you can see it strategically placed around the house. Okay, the crescent moon is another symbol associated with witchcraft. Okay, we know how you know, the moon is used in all these rituals that they perform, blood moons and eclipses and all that stuff. But you see the crescent moon on the floor, and you'll also see that Prince had, you know, suitcases packed with clothes and stuff like that inside of it. Just very, very bizarre, right? You know, just open suitcases. The whole thing is just, you know, obviously most of us are familiar with how the occult operate. I mean, they do sacrifice one another. Nobody can say if he's alive or he's dead. It's just speculation. So that's why I don't like to go down that road, you know, because that's the stuff they want you to do, because then they want to run, you know, they'll take your clip and run with it. And they'll go, look at these tinfoil hat people. They're saying that he's alive or he's dead. But I thought it was important to point out all of these symbols inside of his home. And obviously his own symbol in its own right. And he's got eyes painted on the walls. Just a lot of eyes, folks. I mean, I'm not sure if Prince died, you know, trying to become an optometrist. Maybe he did. Maybe he loves contact lenses. I'm not sure. I don't want to make any accusations. Maybe he was going to school to be an optometrist. Maybe that was his dream all along. But just lots of eye symbols and third eye symbols and that giant eye on the wall, right? To go along with all of the Masonic checkerboard imagery that we see all throughout his home. Is it because black and white is in style, or is it just another common theme that, you know, whether it's the Kardashians or any of these rich satanic witches who have reality shows, you'll always see the black and white for. I mean, it's everywhere all the time. You know, it's not because they're going, oh yes, I love the look of a race flag on my floor, right? I mean, it's a checkered race flag. It's another Masonic symbol, but, you know, people are like, oh, I love NASCAR. I love the flag at the end when the guy wins. Let's put it on the floor, right? I mean, really? And then this stuff that comes out, too, you know, like I said earlier, in regards to 2 years later, they're saying just a week before Prince's death, the Drug Enforcement Administration, the DEA, launched an anonymous tip line in San Francisco seeking information on the pill's source. The drugs that killed Prince could have come from there and bought by someone close to him on the street. And they're talking about this pill that, you know, called I'm not going to say it right, but fentanyl or something like that, that killed Prince remains a mystery. His fatal overdose coincided with a spike in fatal and non-fatal overdoses across the country attributed to counterfeit Vicodin laced with this specific drug. In the weeks prior to his death, let's just call it the F drug, disguises various brands of Vicodin sickened dozens in Northern California. So I mean, they're pretty much trying to just continue to push this narrative of the drug overdose, and now because people, you know, kind of went out and debunked some of this stuff, and why is he on these pills, and what pills is he on, how would he die from it? Then these stories come out about, well, it wasn't really Vicodin because, you know, people matched up. Like, how could you overdose from that type of amount of Vicodin? Listen, at the end of the day, you know when people are ritually sacrificed. You know, I had my video up on him when that whole thing went down 2 years ago. And there's tons of videos out there decoding it, okay, and then showing you all this stuff since then of how great he is, how wonderful he is. This is how they work. This is what they do. This is how they operate. I wanted to do a video on it because as soon as I saw this, the trending section, I'm like, why is Prince trending? And you go on CNN and all these stupid mainstream websites, and they're talking about, oh, they finally are releasing these pictures and all this stuff of inside of his home, and ooh, look at the crime scene. And all I see, are Masonic symbols and eyeballs, all the same stuff we see all these cultists have inside their homes, crescent moons, right? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So I just wanted to show people that, this is what's going on inside these people's homes. It's repetition there as well. It's not just in the music videos, how they live their lives. These are all occultic symbols, folks. I thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.